You are sitting at your kitchen table with a letter from Social Security. Your monthly check says $1,200. You have been collecting for 3 years, but you worked for 42 years. 42. Now, I want you to sit with this for a moment. That benefit amount was not calculated from your full work history. It was calculated from an earnings record the government built, and that record is incomplete. I have spent 24 years auditing Social Security files for people in your exact position. My father did pension work before me. He taught me to trust nothing on paper until I had checked it twice. Today, I am going to show you exactly how to find the missing credits in your file. And I will teach you the one document that reveals whether you have been underpaid. Stay with me, because near the end, I will show you a policy gap that lets certain people claim benefits younger filers simply cannot access. The first thing you need to know is this: the SSA does not audit your record for you. Your earnings history sits in their computer under your Social Security number year by year. But the accuracy of that history depends on paperwork from employers going back to the 1950s. Before 1978, most of that data lived on microfilm and paper ledgers. Transcription errors happened. Employers failed to file. Entire years went missing. Right now, the earnings suspense file, that is the SSA's own term for it, holds over $1.5 trillion in unmatched wages. Real work, never credited to the people who did it. Your primary insurance amount, which is the formal name for your monthly benefit, is built from your highest 35 years of earnings. If even 1 year is missing or understated, your check is lower for the rest of your life. 1 year. Multiply that across 20 years of retirement, and you are looking at tens of thousands of dollars. Here is what I do first. I get the full Social Security statement showing your complete earnings history. Not the benefit letter, the statement. 2 different documents. You request it free at ssa.gov or by mail. Then I compare every single year on that statement to the W-2 forms and tax returns you kept. If the SSA's number is lower than what you actually earned, we have found the gap. That is where the correction begins, and where your money was waiting the whole time. Now that you have found your missing credits, here comes the part most people miss entirely. Between 62 and 70, there is a window that closed in November 2015. President Obama signed the Bipartisan Budget Act, and it shut down 2 claiming strategies overnight. But, and listen carefully here, it did not shut them down for everyone. If you were born on or before January 1st, 1954, you still have access. I am talking about filing for spousal benefits while your own benefit keeps growing. You collect half of what your spouse earned at their full retirement age. Meanwhile, your own benefit compounds at 8% every single year you wait. At 66, you file. You take the spousal money. You say nothing about your own. This is called a restricted application, and younger filers cannot do it anymore. Born in 1955 or later, you are locked into deemed filing. The system forces you to claim everything at once, and your own benefit stops growing. But you, born in 54 or earlier, can split them apart. Let me show you what this means in actual money. Say your spouse's primary insurance amount, their full benefit, is $2,000 per month. Half of that is $1,000 every month for 4 years straight. That is $48,000 you collect while doing nothing but waiting. At 70, your own benefit has grown by 32% from your delayed credits. You switch. Now you collect a bigger number for the rest of your life. The person born in 1955 watches their benefits stay flat because they claimed early. You just unlocked tens of thousands more because of 4 lines in a budget bill. But here is where it gets dangerous, and this is where most people stumble. If you walk into Social Security and say nothing about this strategy, they will assume you want it all. The application you sign will lock you into deemed filing anyway, by accident. You must name the restricted application explicitly when you file, or you lose it forever. That single sentence, "I am applying for spousal benefits only," is the difference between $30,000 and nothing. The next chapter shows you the second trap, and it catches even more people. So you have filed your restricted application at 66, claiming spousal benefits only. Your spouse is already drawing. Your own check is growing 8% per year. Now here is where most people trip. And I mean most. There is a second rule hiding inside the first one, and it will yank you backward. When you file for anything, spousal, your own, divorced spousal, deemed filing activates. Deemed filing is the Social Security machine's way of saying, "I will pay you 1 check, not 2. You cannot receive both your delayed benefit and spousal income stacked together. The system picks the higher amount and stops there. But, and this is the escape hatch I use, there is a birth date that saves you. If you were born on or before January 1st, 1954, you are grandfathered. The old rules still apply to you. The new ones do not. I have watched people born one day apart get entirely different results. January 1st, 54. You file restricted application at full retirement age. You keep that strategy. January 2nd, 54. Deemed filing locks you in immediately. No restricted application allowed. One day. That is the hinge. Here is what grandfathered means in practice. You file for spousal only in writing. You must say the words. You must ask for the restriction explicitly. The SSA will not volunteer it. I have never seen them do it. You will collect your spouse's half benefit, maybe $1,800, maybe $2,500 monthly, for 4 years. Meanwhile, your own benefit grows from 66 to 70 without interruption. At 70, you flip the switch. Your delayed benefit kicks in, now 32% larger. That flip is permanent. The higher amount follows you for life. And I have to be honest, if you are born January 2nd, 54 or later, this door is closed. You cannot get it back. The law changed after you. But if you were born before that date, and your spouse is drawing, and you are at full retirement age, this is your window. This is when the rule stops working against you and starts working for you. Now, once you reach 70 and make that switch, something happens in the background. It is a recalculation that even most financial advisors miss entirely. At 70, the hidden recalculation begins the moment you flip the switch back on. You collected for 4 years at full retirement age, holding back the bigger check. Now those suspended years fire. 8% per year compounds into roughly 32% more. But here is what even your advisor may miss. That new higher base locks in forever. Every cost of living adjustment from that day forward stacks on top of the recalculated amount. One COLA at 3% on a $1,500 check is $45. One COLA at 3% on a $1,980 check is $59. That $14 difference repeats every single year for the rest of your life. over 20 years in retirement. That compounding alone adds up to thousands. Now, remember the twist I promised you at the start. This is it. Most people who claimed early, say at 62, carry a permanent 32% reduction forever. They think that is the end of the story. It is not. If you reach full retirement age and suspend from 66 to 70, you layer 8% per year on top. The early claiming penalty does not disappear, but the suspended years partially rebuild what you lost. You cannot recover the full amount, but you recover some, and you lock it in. The SSA never volunteers this. They will not call you. They will not send a letter. You must ask, in writing or by phone, for a voluntary suspension. Let me walk back through what we have covered across all 4 chapters. First, audit your earnings record. Find the missing credits nobody calculated. Second, if you were born before January 2nd, 1954, file for spousal only at full retirement age. Third, hold that restricted application steady. Deemed filing cannot trap you if you know the escape. Fourth, at 70, suspend and trigger the recalculation that locks in a permanently higher payment. Each step compounds the one before it. Each step the SSA assumes you will never find. Now, here is what I want you to do. Request your full statement this week. Open it beside your tax returns. Look for the year where the numbers do not match. That missing piece is yours. That is money the system already owes you. I read every comment you send. Tell me, did you find a gap in your record? The difference between knowing and not knowing is the difference between retiring on your terms and someone else's.